Broadway, of course, is really the home of the musical. I mean, and although, we love working in London, there is no substitute for coming here.
I grew up in a little town in Merseyside, and I was obsessed with Broadway. And you convince yourself that these things don't happen to people like you. You just do. It's too far away. Even geographically, it is too far away. So to have been here, to kind of like my dream place, and for it to be so wonderful, everybody to be so kind to me, and for them to say, hey, do you know what you did is worthy of the highest accolade that we can give, is the best thing that has ever happened.
The voices you can hear there are those of Andrew Lloyd Webber and Jack Malone, two people who won Tony Awards on Sunday night at Radio City Hall in New York. They are also both the products of a powerful and important UK theatre industry able to celebrate and launch talent across the globe. On this special bonus episode of the WhatsOnStage podcast, I, Alex Wood, will take you through what happens when the winners pick up their trophies and head over the road from Radio City Hall to talk to the press about winning in their respective categories. It was a big night for UK talent at the Tony Awards. Winners included Stranger Things: The First Shadow, which picked up an array of creative categories, as well as Jack Malone, who won for his performance in Operation Mincemeat. We go first to Jack, talking about why it is the off-West End space in London allowed him to cut his teeth and find his moment.
The new diorama, I only knew of it because I was joining the production and I was doing Mincemeat. I really firmly believe I owe David Byrne my career, possibly. That man is just a visionary. I didn't have an agent when we did the first run of Mincemeat, and he personally advocated for me and called agencies in his free time to say, hey, there's this guy doing this thing and you've got to come and see him do it. Nobody came, but he still did that, and I'm so grateful for him for that. And the Southwark Playhouse, these places are like little schools for wayward girls, when you go and you figure out the show and you cut your teeth, and then producers are starting to pick up on that and give these shows bigger spaces and longer runs, and I'm so grateful for that. Long may it continue. I think London has a very, very good tradition and channel to be able to support new work, and it's become a bit of a trend, and I hope it stays trendy.
Whilst Jack managed to find his feet off West End, he has been thoroughly embraced by the Broadway community, as he reflects now.
You couldn't have told me before I came here, and if anyone had tried to tell me, I wouldn't have believed them, how wonderful and warm and open this community is. People have the time for you here. People want to gas you up and make you feel good and invite you for coffee. I've literally, in one award season, I've met all of my heroes, all of my musical theatre heroes. I'm so glad that Mincemeat, throughout its entire journey and everything we've done, has landed here, so we as a team and as a show, as a production, got to experience Broadway's incredible, unrivaled hospitality.
On top of their 3 prizes for Best Scenic Design, Lighting Design and Sound Design of a Play, the team behind Stranger Things: The First Shadow picked up a special award for illusions and technical effects. Here, Jamie Harrison and Chris Fisher explain what it's like bringing horror to the stage in a way that Broadway has never seen before.
Having made a lot of shows over the years and put a lot of things on stage, you start to sort of understand where the line between something that is ridiculous and something that is exciting lies. It's very easy to cross over that, and sometimes it's actually, the truth is you can't really feel that until you're in previews, but you've got to push it right to the edge, because if you're not pushing it to the edge, you're not doing anything new. And so there's an element of risk that's involved, and a big part of Chris and my role is to define how far we push that risk. And it's an exciting place to be. It's also quite a scary place.
Particularly with the genre, like the genre of horror. Like sometimes horror, you can push horror and it can be funny. So we wanted to really go into the kind of Stranger Things genre, which is to scare people. And so we had to kind of like really think about that and how we work that into the designs and what the reaction was going to be with the audience as well.
Jamie Lloyd's production of Andrew Lloyd Webber, Don Black and Christopher Hampton's Sunset Boulevard was a huge hit in the West End and continues the trend on Broadway, picking up 3 Tony Awards for Best Musical Revival, Best Actress in a Musical for Nicole Scherzinger, and Best Lighting Design. Taking to the winner's room, Jamie Lloyd and Andrew Lloyd Webber had lots to say about their future collaborations together, as well as the state of Broadway versus the West End,
Well, I think the thing is with Auburn's older shows is that it's great when somebody comes to you with a new idea and a new idea of how to do it. Jamie had done a production of Evita in Regent's Park in London a few years back now, and is just about to do it again in London with Rachel Zegler, so it's very exciting. And so I obviously knew his work, and I followed Jamie's work for a long time. And so it was very exciting when he came to me, and also with the thought that Nicole might do it. I've known Nicole for a very long time. She played Grisabella in Cats in London, and the thought that she would do Norma was incredible for me, because she's got such a fantastic voice. I mean, she can really act through music in a way that very few people can. And therefore, I mean, it all seemed to be great. But the most exciting thing was when Jamie told me what he intended to do with it. It was quite radical.
Yeah. Well, we've spoken a lot about that, haven't we, over the years. But it's amazing that Andrew was just so open-minded and collaborative every step of the way. So really, so grateful to him for entrusting the piece to us and allowing us to find that new way to tell the story.
I've found over the years that if you're working with first-rate directors, it becomes very, very exciting, because the process in the rehearsal room, it becomes just one of those things that you can't repeat. I mean, that's why one's in theatre, why I love working in theatre so much. And we began to make the show darker, and Jamie came up with a quite radical suggestion that a couple of the songs actually were cut, which I think was right, because they were, when you look back at it, a little old-fashioned. And I think that it was the right decision, and it made it possible to make the show a lot darker in a way. And anyway, I'm looking forward to working with Jamie. We're doing a new show together after Evita called The Illusionist, and that'll open in London, I reckon, in September of next year, produced by the wonderful Michael Harrison, who produced Sunset and is producing Evita, and is now my... we have a partnership together that Michael's going to be producing all my work from now onwards.
Lloyd Webber wanted to broach the subject. Will Sunset Boulevard finally make it to the big screen?
We've been hoping to get a film made of Sunset Boulevard now for about 35 years. I'm going to be frank. I mean, there isn't a great rush of people saying that they want to make it. I'd love to see it. I mean, I really would dearly love to see it. And of course, I'm going to kind of slightly move sideways, but say something that Billy Wilder said to me. I can't do his Austrian accent, so I'm not going to bother. But he remembered, after he first saw Sunset in London, he said to me, he said, Mr. Weber, he said, you've done a good job with my show. He said, but remember, the problem with theatre is everything is in long shot. And I keep thinking, what would Billy Wilder have made of Jamie's production? Do you know, I think he'd have loved it, absolutely loved it. And in a way, after seeing Jamie's production, I'm a little unsure that I know how it could be filmed. You know, film isn't my real world. I'm afraid I'm a theatre animal through and through. But look, who knows? It'd be great if it was made, I guess.
Early last year, Succession star Sarah Snook came to the West End in the critically lauded production of The Picture of Dorian Gray. She then brought the production to Broadway, winning for her performances 26 different characters in the new take on Oscar Wilde's classic. She talks about what it's like coming to Broadway and those that helped her get there along the way.
I mean, I am the beneficiary of many acts of kindness, of people just showing up for me and advocating for me and having my back. I think the first person who comes to mind really is a drama teacher I had when I was in high school, affectionately called Jeffo, which I feel like, yeah, Jeffo. And he just knew that I had an interest in acting and supported that with the kind of equanimity and grace as a good teacher would and should. And I really appreciate his words of kindness and encouragement do the shows that we did together, and then also to audition for drama school when I was graduating from high school. And he said you should do it as a acting lesson rather than as an attempt to get into the drama school, because they don't take people who are graduating from high school or who are 18, but just go and have no expectations. And it was really important to hear that.
But as she says, success does not come overnight and takes a degree of tenacity in order to fight away those voices that tell you to stop.
Certainly in my 20s, I sort of was like, what am I doing? Why am I still doing this? Does anyone really want me to have any voice or space here? Or, do I have any right to? And, there's those little voices inside that it's less of saying, like, keep going, but what else are you going to do? And I know that, I wouldn't be happy doing anything else, so...
Snook also responded to rumours that The Picture of Dorian Gray may be getting the big screen treatment following its stage success, but she wasn't too sure about what its prospects might be.
Oh, I have no idea. I know as much as you do in terms of where that is. I don't know how this gets turned into a film. It's a particularly complex piece to do as a theatre show, so I don't know what... I think dramaturgically it holds up, and I think Kip would be an incredible director for that project, and if I got to be a part of that, that would be a dream come true, but who knows.
It was, in many ways, a historic night at the Tony Awards. Cara Young earned her second Tony Award, winning Best Featured Actress in a Play for her role as Aziza in Purpose. This actually made her the first black performer to secure 2 consecutive acting Tonys, and the first to be nominated 4 years in a row in the same category.
Where I go to feel love, connection, and purpose is in the theater. Whether I have the fortunate honor of being in a play or the fortunate honor of being an audience member, I feel like, I know I've said this a billion times, but I truly feel like we are so divided out here in the world that we can literally sit in a theater and nothing else matters but the story and our heartbeats and our listening ears, or our eyes, for those who need access to that. But I feel incredibly grateful. But I feel grateful to be doing this every day. Even on the Monday when the Monday is the dark day, they say, but, it's something about being the actor. You're still committed to the story. You're still committed to your character. Now everything revolves around Aziza in all the ways. I really believe in this ancestral power of storytelling. I really believe that, we are, it's the most ancestral thing we can do. Sitting in your grandma's living room, sitting in your auntie's kitchen. There is a story to be told, and that is theater at the same time. But, when we were sitting, by a fire telling stories, it's the most beautiful thing ever, that we just lean in and listen. Yeah. The driving force are the stories, that there's so many stories to be told.
Brandon Jacob Jenkins also had a milestone night, winning Best New Play for Purpose, which already claimed the Pulitzer Prize for Drama earlier this year. His Tony Award win for Purpose this year follows a win for Appropriate last year for Best Play Revival, meaning that he's won Tonys 2 years consecutively.
Honestly, I think I made a decision during COVID to really lean into the idea of play as play and really wanting to make sure I'm doing something that I call work that is fulfilling, that's with people I love, that's inspiring. And truthfully, this play only happened because I had the opportunity to work with one of the best acting ensembles in the world and work with the Felicia Rashad and really just be in a room where we just played make-believe all day. And I'm so overjoyed. This is the icing on the cake that I get to do this thing that I love and get sort of paid for it, But that's what drives me. I want to be inspired. I want to be around inspiring people. I want to push my limits of my craft and what makes me me. And I want to encounter geniuses like Cara Young and see what happens when we play together. That's really what it's about. And I've had shows that we thought were going to be a nightmare that wound up being the most important thing I've ever done. I've had the opposite. You really just have to have faith in the collaborators and just believe that what you're doing is worth it to you enough that it'll be worth it to someone else.
At the same time, Cole Escola made history for being the first open non-binary performer to win Best Actor in a Play, whilst Darren Criss became the first Asian American performer to win Best Actor in a Musical. That's all we've got time for on this episode of the What's on Stage podcast. Make sure you go back and listen to our full episode with producer Sonia Freeman, who had a lot to say about the state of Broadway, and make sure you tune in for Friday's episode, where we talk all things Evita with the team behind the new production at the London Palladium. In the meantime, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, rate us, leave a comment, and in general rave about all things to do with the What's on Stage podcast. Have a lovely week.